one of the things that you actually started bringing it up was your three companies that you have. Expand a little bit on who runs those companies for you. One of the reasons to me that it's important for me to do this podcast with my daughter is every time she's on a podcast, she gets to hear from a brilliant person like you or whoever my other guests are. So I just kind of want to hear your evolution through that. I mean, obviously you brought up how your dad owned the company. Maybe take us on a trail from, when you took over for your dad, I think in 1973, correct me if I'm wrong on that date, kind of how you turned into Frank Mariani that we see today, and then the start of all your other companies, if you could take us down that path.
Well, in the spring of 73, we found out that my dad had leukemia. And I was just graduated high school. I was going to go to SIU. Actually, I had a football scholarship. I would have gotten murdered, but so maybe this was a blessing in disguise. But
what position did you play, Frank? I need to know.
No, defensive nose guard.
Oh, okay. You'd have been going up against a guy like me. I was a guard.
Yeah, so. yeah, and I love beating up guards. But anyway, we found out my dad was sick in March, and quite frankly, they only gave him 3 months to live, which I found out after because he never said that to me. But he lasted 2 days after we closed down in November. And our family priest said to me, he said he was going to make it through the whole year and show you how to run the company. And that's, in fact, what he did. And in 1973, we did $90,000 in revenue. And we had about 9 employees, a couple trucks. My dad was a hell of a lot smarter because he declared $30,000. So he was making 30%. I've never been able to figure out how to do that. But, I was feeling sorry for myself because I lost my father. He was a great guy and had to watch him go. And all my friends were going off to college. And, quite frankly, I wasn't a great student, but I loved high school. I got along with everybody. Back then you had greasers, you had hippies, you had jocks, and I hung around with everybody. And so when they all went to school, I felt, oh, what the hell? I'm here. I'm stuck. But I was also worried that every single year, you shut down in the fall, you start up in the spring. I thought I'd lose every client and I'd have to start in spring with nobody. It's just what drove me. And I said, I can't do that. I got to build this business. And at that time, my dad taught me, he'd wake me up at 4:30 in the morning. For the life of me, I don't know. So I'd come down. He'd already have toast with butter and jelly, and he probably made it at 3:30. I said, Dad, could you wait to put the toast in the toaster? He made it every day anyway. And I didn't like jelly. He still made it every day. And then we talked for a couple hours. Then the guys would get there. And I said, and then he passed. I said, if I'm going to get up at this hour of the day, I got to build a bigger business because, I want to have people to talk to that are smarter than me. And I want to make more money. This is too many hours to make what we're making. And so within a couple of years, I was well over $1 million. And at that time, I had 2 brothers working for me, Vito and John and Vito. Then we moved out of just doing landscape maintenance. We started doing landscape design and landscape construction. And I've always been a big believer in vertical integration. And then I hired people like Frank Thevayner, who's been with me over 40 years. And, we moved out of, I was operating out of the house as my office. And I rented a little shop. It cost me about $1,000 a year. It was nothing. Eventually got an office. Eureka. I got an assistant. Back then you could call him a secretary and answer the phones. And we would continue to be a full service company, always really looking at the residential side of the business. We prefer the residential. We do some commercial, but mostly residential.
And you are the largest residential landscaper in the country right now, correct?
Well, people have said that. I think it's true. Um, um, but I have to tell you, what's interesting. I never set sights to be the biggest, but here's why we grew, and I think this is very important. When you would train somebody and bring somebody on and have good people, the only way I know how to keep them is to grow to the business so there's opportunity for them to move up the ladder.
Frank, I sorry, my daughter's laughing because I say this to her all the time. So
right. I mean, I don't know how to keep Frank Thevayner, Ron Fiocchi. The list goes. I mean, I don't know how to do it.
Well, and now look at I'm working with Todd. Sorry, I interrupted you, Frank. But Todd is Frank's son.
The Thevayner family is very interesting because Frank has been with me over 40 years. His wife, Tammy, who's a bookkeeper at our company, has been here well over 20 years. Todd, who also happens to be my godson, runs the maintenance production. Todd's wife, Andrea, is our purchasing manager. So you got 4 people from one family. I think that speaks.
Yeah, you're doing something right, Frank. Yeah.
You're doing something right, and I'm blessed to have all 4 of them working here. Frank, once in a while, I wonder how blessed I am, but the rest of the gang is phenomenal. But anyway, so that's why we grew the business, and the vertical integration thing. So we started with maintenance, then we started doing landscape architecture, and then we started building things. And so that that was no brainers. But then we started doing snow, and then we started doing our own pest management. But you look at then we opened a garden holiday shop, which generates a couple $1 million worth of business a year. Doing lighting and doing these custom wreaths and going to your home. We'll do everything inside and out. The lighting, wreaths, tabletops, anything you want, we'll do it. And it's a nice business, and we love Christmas time. We shut down for 2 weeks every year at Christmas, and we don't count that against people's vacation time. And it's something that we say we can't promise you every year, but we've been doing it well over 35 years. And people said, "Oh, you're such a nice guy." So, well, number one, I love Christmas and Hanukkah. I love the holidays. And number 2, nobody does anything anyway, so I don't want to look at them doing nothing except having a party every day. So go home, enjoy your family, work to the day we stop, and come back ready to work when you get back. In the meantime, enjoy your family and friends. They get to spend time with. I mean, that's a huge perk that people really appreciate. And guess what? I appreciate it probably more than they do. So that's a win-win for everybody. Then we got a nursery business. I don't know. And by the way, I'm not good with dates. So probably early 90s. And the reason we bought 135 acres with the idea the only people that would buy from Mariani would be Mariani, because why would the competition buy from us? And, now that nursery is 2 different locations and it's close to 700 acres. So that kept expanding in different ways. But the reason we got in the nursery business is because our sources for buying nursery stock is just boring. It was different types of pines and evergreens, junipers, and red twig dogwood, nothing exciting. And I wanted to push the envelope and grow things that other people weren't growing. And we've done that. We've been very successful. And lo and behold, the smart competitors that we had, the good ones, they bought from us. But the understanding was whatever Mariani Landscape paid, they were going to pay. No special conditions for Mariani. They have to be treated the exact same way. And we built that level of trust, and it works. Then a few years after that, my attorney, who happens to be a good personal friend, so we've done quite a few deals together, came to me and talked about a perennial business out in Hampshire called Iverson, who had just sold his business to a southern grower for like $10 million and left this 3 acres of greenhouses in Hampshire on 50 acres of property. And we bought it for a very good price. And now we've got over 1 million square feet of growing, and we produce about uh, $20 million worth of perennials that we sell primarily through Home Depot. And the quality is spectacular. And my thinking on that was, if the economy really went in the toilet and people weren't going to use a company like Mariani, they still want a little color and joy in their life. Maybe they'll go to Home Depot and they'll buy some plants, and we can supply them with that color and joy. And it's worked pretty well. So those kind of things. And then each one of those companies, at 19 years ago, I was in YPO at that time, the Young Presidents Organization. Now I'm in WPO, which is what they should have called it, old YPO guys. But my forum group, which is made up of anywhere between 6 and 12 people, that you can talk about anything in strict confidentiality, private or business, they advised me to get a president because, I couldn't do everything I was doing. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I was before. And I hired my president, who now is my partner, Fred Wacker. So together we run these 3 companies, but each company then also has, Fred's the president of Mariani, but we have we have a full operating committee, a management team at Mariani. We have Mike Menino, who is our general manager at the nursery at Mariani Plants. And we have Bob Whiteside and Chris Hansen over at Hampshire Farms. And each one of those has their own group of management team. And we really let them do their work. But we're big in the strategic planning. In fact, we're going through that process right now. We're very big in budgeting. We kind of like the blue ocean theory, which, let's think of things that other people aren't doing, and how can we lead. I'm a big fan right now. There are million might be exaggerated, but there's a lot of new landscape companies. A lot of them are Latino, Mexican companies out there. Some of my friends and larger competitors, they don't like the idea that these people are coming in. To me, that reminds me of my dad in 1973. I knew there were people that weren't crazy about him, the big companies. Who's this Dago? Who's this Italian guy, doesn't even speak English? Well, guess what? It became Mariani Landscape. And these other little companies, a lot of them work for us. They're going to make their way. That's the American way. And I'm proud of them. Guess what? The better job they do, I still want to beat them. So it's good. Our team wants to beat them. We want to be better. But in the meantime, we appreciate the competition, and we think that'll push us. By the way, we're remodeling our facility, so expect a couple bangs.
Yeah, Ron told me he was doing that, so that was probably Ron hitting that wall.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get louder, but so anyway, I think competition is great, and I always look at it. Michael Phelps, I think he touched the wall first because he could see to the right and the left who was going to catch him. He never wanted anybody to catch him, so he swam faster. We're looking left and right all the time, and we're looking for ways that differentiate us from our competition, because I want to, and more importantly, our team wants to touch the wall first. So that's what we do. That vertical integration thing, it's, God knows I didn't create that. But, the other thing is, lucky enough to have you as a friend and get very involved in this robotic mowing. When I heard about it, nice thing about computers, you get online. By the way, I'm a caveman, but I can go on Google and I can look up anything. I can see the fact that in Germany, over 50% of the turf cut in Germany is cut by a robotic mower. We're predicting that within 5 years here, that number may even be bigger. If we have anything to say about it, it will be bigger. We want to be the leader in the clubhouse. And as you know, Joe, we're making a major investment. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, it's worth it. And, I think we in the green industry need to do a better job of doing things in a green and sustainable manner. what's better than a robotic mower? Plus the other thing I like to tell everybody, everybody wanted to be cut on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Every day is your lawn is mowed. Every single day. It looks beautiful.
As Ron said, every day's a Friday.
Every day is Friday. And no fingers and toes cut.
Yes.
And as much as we emphasize safety here, which we really do,